bad. Okay, you're live, and it's better connection this time. How do I know this? Because I've got no red line, I've got no amber line, I can already see there's one listener that's about to hit a thumb. Yeah, hit the thumb and I'll tell you, hey, it's Mr. Brown Dwarf. How's it going, brother? Yeah, I'm just setting things up. You know how it is. Living on the run. See these gloves here, Dwarf? You'll understand this. You're that same kind of a guy. These are my kids' riding gloves that all four of my children went through. And they ended up, because the girls, you know how they got longer fingers, I guess, in some respects, because they grow taller. So we ended up having to cut them off because their hands were still small enough to use them. Good man, how are you? I'm doing not too bad. I'm figuring, Jesus, things. There, we just do this. Are you going to stay like that? Why isn't it? I should have figured this out. I just wasn't thinking. I'll get you up there. And I'm just trying to hang that shirt there because I wish I could pause. See the frustration of me right now? Let me try something new. Hang on. There we go. Get you over to that side. There we go. That's better, eh? Yeah, whoever's watching right now, later in life, I am sorry that I am such a klutz right now, but I made a bad choice. How's that? That's not too bad, eh? I just didn't want this shining in my eyes, but I know you guys wouldn't mind seeing who you're talking with and stuff, and so I had put on my flashlight thinking maybe I could work it that way. So, Brown Dwarf, I'm basically checking to see if anybody wanted to hear my story at all of why I'm sitting here and how it kind of all began for me. And I thought I was just going to run through it and kind of make it a quick introduction to my year or so of my year or so. So I decided that what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to skip back a little bit further and go more like about 2.5 years. It's been something like that. Because you guys know, or if you don't, you know now that I got a pretty bad case of tinnitus and another one that's called, another hearing ailment that's called hyperacusis. I have physical injury in my neck that prevents me from doing a lot of, if I wanted to do any packing. Like, I wouldn't wear a backpack and go searching for these guys. I'm unable to do that unless I figured out how to put a backpack system on my hips and, went forward like that. Then that would be a lot better for me. Another thing is just the impact on my neck, but I'm not getting into that stuff. So, but because of those injuries, it put me a lot of time sitting in front of a computer. I'm not a TV guy. I haven't had cable vision in one of my residents in 20 years now. So I wasn't much for watching, regular TV and stuff. I'd do it here and there and stuff, but I was never... Anyways, and so I was into the internet stuff. Got into the Bigfoot stuff, always had an interest, always as a kid and all this different kind of stuff. And, even in my 10 up to 12 years or something like that, playing around on YouTube, I found it right. Like within 6 months, I think, or something like that, I was not hooked onto it, but hooked up with it where I knew this industry was there and it was going to go to here and it's still going to continue. So anyways, and I learned that, way back many years ago. So I've watched a lot of YouTube, I learned a lot how people do their thing, was always scared to do it, understand the newies when they're coming on there and they're kind of doing this and that. And, It's kind of a neat process. Anyways, so I learned that kind of stuff at that time. Anyways, and me being injured 4 years back now was a process. And a couple of years, 2.5 years back then, in that process, I was really enjoying Bigfoot stuff. I was really a follower of Thinker Thunker. I think I was into what's his name's from back here, east here in Toronto. He is called, you know me, I'm not the best with names, but what's his name there? You know, the blonde-haired guy. He's got the big claw. I don't know if you've seen that, but whatever his name is, one of you guys will throw it up there. And he has the Sasquatch that's playing with the baby, and you guys have all seen it and all that kind of stuff, and you got your understanding of what you see, and I got my understanding of what I see and stuff, but I really connected with that and got a really good understanding out of that and many different things. So I was into thinking that, man, this thing looks like it could be really real. Timber giant Bigfoot, thank you very much. And so because this thing was becoming more real to me, I would be establishing more of my heart and thought towards it. And I ended up doing a video on there where I spent time on Google Earth and a couple of things, watching that one that was in Mission where the people are up on the hillside and they view down. I ended up figuring out that they're on a little bit of an island. I ended up figuring out where the lake was. I ended up figuring out, coming in from Google Earth, where people had been there and taken pictures from different angles, figuring out a whole bunch of angles of what's going on. See, I come from construction, and I can't tell you the numbers that I would use, but I could stand here and show you the discipline that I use in, you know, just the nature, you know, that pole over there and that rock over there and that, this is how I figure and stuff like that. So anyways, and I felt very good about that. What you haven't seen is in my broke one, you know, I got this laptop that's broken. It's just kind of buggered up, but I got video stuff in there that shows when I'd actually, I don't know, within a couple of weeks or a month or two, I ended up going to that place, and it ended up being a couple of mile hike in, I think. I was gone for a couple of hours. The evening setting came in, and I was in this spot where I went through a thicket of tree where I didn't really understand the trails I was on and stuff like that very well. And I was out on the lake on a different edge of it. I'm kind of on the backside, so the people were kind of up, like I came into it and came around from there. So where they view in the Mission video, and you see the big Sasquatch doing a step down into that rut and stuff, I'm on that other side. That's where I wanted to be, because I wanted to be able to see why he had to step down there such and stuff. So I got that on video and stuff, and that is what it is. So what I did was all of a sudden, there's a canoe even there. A boat that just sits there so people can go across to the island there. Somebody just leaves it there. There's even an old empty bottle of whiskey and stuff, but you could tell the boat just sits there. I think it was a canoe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it was turquoise blue, actually. So I made your willpower and I said, no, it didn't happen today. It happened then, right? So anyways, I called quits to it. Didn't have a flashlight, nothing like that. Took off, and I even remember walking through that forest and being quite scared, guys. I think I was probably in a gear that was trying to push, and I really pushed myself that day and got out of there and such, and mostly I thought about how I felt. I was excited about my process, but anyways, on video you see me get pretty excited when I realized certain things that he did. You could see how a Bigfoot was walking there. You could see where that other head popped up, where there could have been another little guy or some lad even hiding on the face of the big rock there. That's all, whatever. Got out of there. Went home. Never made a video about it. I think then what happened was I went for this certain test when I turned 51 days old. And that's how I remember so well, and that's how I'll always just express it. It was 50 and then the one day. But anyways, 2015, I'm pretty sure it was after that I ended up having this test that really mucked up my hyperacusis and made it really bad. So I went through a stage where I wasn't into anything. And then about a year and so ago, let's call it about 13 months ago, 14 months ago, I was starting to get real antsy about needing some entertainment and being able to get out there and enjoy life, feel life, that kind of stuff. So I ended up, I recall even to this level that it was would have been a Wednesday night or a Thursday night. No, it would have been a Thursday night. You know, I'm watching YouTube. I was probably on Bigfoot things. I can't remember it all. I just remember thinking, and kind of, you know, sometimes your thinks or prayers and wishes and hopes and stuff. And I guess I put one of those ones out there, like, I'm just tired of living within this thing and not having something that draws me and gets me, you know, like that. It was kind of like that kind of a plea. It wasn't a plea of, please take this away. It was, please give me something to do. Anyways, so the next day I had a doctor's appointment way out in the other town. You know, like, let's call it a 40-minute drive. So I went the back roads, what I like to do. Went to the appointment. Was at the doctor's appointment. He's asking me how I'm doing and stuff. Yeah, it's all right and stuff, but I'm just bored to crap. And, you know, I'm kind of just in this slouchy mood. I'm not whining too much where I'm like that, but I'm telling him this stuff. I leave from there. I'm driving back. Just straight from there, straight back. I didn't grab a tea. I didn't do anything. I'm just driving straight back. And a guy on my tailgate me and stuff. I don't like tailgaters much. And so this trail I had walked on 3 different times about, and one time I had even walked on it with my oldest daughter. It was just like a nice path of grass that went back there. It was wide as a car, if not wider and stuff. So I thought I'd pull in there, and I'm going to speed it up at this point, okay? So when I pulled into there, this is basically what I call my habitat, my first habitat, my number one habitat. And the choice that I did there was I followed what I had been learning off of YouTube, is to, hey, biggest butt ever, how's it going? Cheers. So I'm just telling my stuff, and, you know, you're catching up to an interesting spot if you want to stick around. Anyways, so I'm in my first habitat. I don't know this yet. But I decided to take the information kind of based off of YouTube of don't walk our trail, walk off the trail and see if you can find a Bigfoot trail type thing. What I ended up actually doing is, as I walked in, I ended up figuring out that I was actually in a habitat, what I called it habitat. I was in the part that becomes 3 parts, and this part is about 5 acres, and I ended up calling it Jungle Gym Motel, because it was just a jungle gym right off of the bat. And I would go up to the different trees and I could see, okay, I can understand how somebody's standing here and they're swinging from there. Okay, a bigger guy can do this kind of a thing. A guy can jump from there and land from here. You know, like parkour. I watched parkour hundreds of hours. You know, when I would go to the park and stuff, when I was still in better shape and stuff, I would horse around it and try to do it with my kids to give them the incentive. And we used to go to the park and play parkour. That's what I'm kind of doing in a jungle gym now with my eyes, as I'm playing it as how they would be doing it. I could get we could get a being size. We can implement that stuff when we look at it. Okay, strength better balance. We can use all that when we're being creative and we're trying to figure out the process. Don't just look at the footprint and walk away. Try to figure out if he really did press as he walked. Try to figure out any possibility about that. Maybe you notice a little bit of a turn there that gives you the impression that maybe he turned off this way. So then you go off that way and you end up finding another print because that thing gave you that impression. You know, don't worry about the casts so much. We got tons of casts. We know they live. We know they're out there. If you want it for your showpiece and you get the awesome piece, who wouldn't, right? So I'm not discouraging. I'm trying to encourage, you know, other steps of thinking, and that's what I've done lots. So after that 5 acres, I started to expand through it. I ended up calling this other approximately 5 acres, called it the Valley of the Sasquatch. It's just a really shallow area. It's only in 5 acres, but it gives me a good, I don't know, let's say 80, 100 foot drop from the front to the back, which connects around to the Jungle Gym Motel, and is also a part of, on the upper lift here, You're talking, I think you guys are talking, right? I think so. So anyways, so make sure hey, Brown, if you're talking to me or whatever, make sure you kind of give me a heads up, right? If you want me, you know, whatever. Anyways, so this upper 5 acre section is called kind of like what I called the, I can't remember exactly, but the nesting area. I think it was that. I could figure out how they umbrellaed the trees up like this, as opposed to trees wanting to kind of naturally hang like that from the winters and blah 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 whatever. So they were, you know, because in there is when I also nicknamed them the woodsmen of the forest. The reason why I nicknamed them the woodsmen of the forest is that because I was seeing all these different shapes of trees and stuff. I found this one tree that we almost would think went through a planer but still had skin on it, and you know, I could just tell by my experience with wood, carpentry, construction, all that kind of stuff, vast different levels of it, that something was going on with all these different things. Along with, I got into my very first day, footprints, the Jungle Gym Motel. Motel came together because of how it was so well bushed and stuff. I could just understand that there could be a bear. And that my first couple of days, the reason why I say mama so much is because what I suspect now, fake bear tracks, and I think I might have seen a cub track there too, but I believe now probably fake. There was only a couple I came across, but that's why I went into the mama part, a mama bear, right, from our thing there. So when I ended up having my first face-to-face experience, it's just like, mama, don't kill, you know, like the rush of what's going on. Especially if you feel like you want to talk, if you want to stand your ground, because if you just start to go away, then you're flowing your energy different. But if you're going to stand there, your energy's just standing there, ready to confront and stuff, right? So it's an experience, which I'm going to come into now. So I'm in there for my first few days. I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff. Day after day, I'm learning something new. I'm coming. For pretty much 12 days, almost straight, I believe, I went there every day. On my 13th day is when you can go to my video section and watch my first face-to-face part of it. At 2 minutes, if it's my, whatever, I don't, 2 or 3 minute video or something. At 2 minutes, when I do start to talk, is when you get this ultimate focus. Watch for that moment, and that will really help you. And you're just looking center, and you're dropping down to about right there. So look to about this spot right in here. And yeah, stuff is happening, and you see this stick, and it's shining, this stick. And this stick is right in the way of a mouth that's back in there. So you don't get to see the mouth. It's kind of like this. But you get to see these big teardrop mostly shaped eyes here, nice and deep black, and then a little bit different of black all starts to conform here. You get to see the shape of a nose. What would look smaller, my eyes look way smaller than his, but my nose looks way bigger in proportion on this in particular being. I ended up figuring it was a little boy all from the beginning. But what you end up doing, you actually end up getting to see maybe a shape like on this angle like this. You get to see all of this, you know, this head all like this and stuff. You get to see what at first I thought, holy cow, that's one heck of a big trapezius and stuff. But now what I actually think it is, I think it's probably Dad's arm or something coming over, and you get to see maybe Dad's hand. So remember that part when that focus thing happens and you get to see that boy. Then instantly as that's happening, then draw your hands down there, and it's when you get to see what I believe are the digits of the fingers, and you get to see this incredible manly hand, right? And then once you freeze and you understand on that, absorb it, keep watching it, don't give up on it. Yeah, it's very interesting. Don't go around looking at other things or anything, just connect with the boy. Yeah, it does look young. Yeah, it does look like this and stuff. And then as you really draw him in and you're sold on it, you're willing to say to somebody at work, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen a Sasquatch as real as I think Patty is, but looking kind of different. You know, once you're really doing that, then start to spread your eyes out. Don't walk away from that part because then you're giving up. Then you've walked away from Patty. You go back to Patty and watch her again. I know you watch her on this. I know you watch her on that. You get guys who are making fun of Green for all this stuff on it or whatever type thing. But the guy is doing miracle work. We shouldn't be making fun. Even I kibitzed on it a bit or whatever. But I appreciate if you figure out who I'm talking about there. Green Wave maybe or something. MK. He's just doing, you know, he's doing what he's doing. He's hung up on his thing. He's doing a very good job. Anyways, off of that. So let's get back into the story. And I talked about all the guys, my first face-to-face experience. That in particular day, I have this experience with these guys. I'm saying thank you and all that kind of stuff. Remember, I'm sold on it. I 100% at that moment know that I am a believer. I just had an interaction. I just had an experience that very few people have probably even nearly had it to this experience. I don't know if anybody has really had it to this experience because of what went on there and stuff, and that they had to tuck out of my way, because that's basically what they do. They kind of can lock, and they're very strong. They probably are like monkeys, how monkeys can swing through the branches and they're not going break, 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 is because of how they use the gravity, I would imagine. It's the only thing I can figure out. And he's not in control of everything that he uses, but he's still falling, and he's using the gravity, and he doesn't die. So whatever. So these guys all do a lock or something like it. It's almost like a piano bench slide where you all just slide off and push everybody off of the bench. And that's how they slide out of there, and you'll end up realizing that. And that's how the little guy ended up disappearing. And as that's going on is when you get to see different shapes. Some of the shapes are really spooky, and I'm going to get to that because of a different thing. So I'm going to tell you something super interesting. That happened on my 13th day. Guess what happened on my 15th day? I had another interaction. That's when, I don't remember what I called it, but it is in my... I think it's in my top 100s. It's what I call, see that face-to-face, I say is 100% through me looking with my eyes and me looking with my camera, looking through my camera, and being able to look at my camera now at home and all that kind of stuff. To me, there's no way that that experience gets away from me. I seen it. I didn't get to hear anything because they weren't on that level, but I seen it. My second experience 2 days later, probably the same guys. Obviously, I'm at the same habitat. I'm just in the very back, kind of, walking, like of their whole 15 acres. I'm walking through into the nesting station. That's right. So I ended up probably going past that, what do you call it there? The first face-to-face plot in the Valley of the Sasquatch. So I think what I did was I probably went in there, continued down, and I found this other trail that follows the back on that part. And now I'm walking the back to behind the nesting area. And I'm kind of just, I'm not, yeah, I come on working into the nesting area a little bit. somewhat, but it ends up probably just being really cool play area. And way over here is the nesting area. And remember, we're talking 15 acres, 5-acre parcels, so I'm way off in this corner. Actually, over here, there ends up being a couple of acreage parcel house places, probably like 10 acres houses, and there's like 3 or 4 of them there. Anyway, so I'm back there, and that's where I have my second experience. That's when at one time I'm on this log and I say, if I just ran back there, you guys, I bet you I just, it's that in particular video. I can't remember if I say something about it, but anyways, wicked experience again, where I had no real clue. Couldn't really tell what was going on other than I'm in this presence of something that's not allowing me to bug them too much. This is maybe my second time meeting them already in just 15 days. You gotta people say, yeah, act like this and that. I'm already acting like this and that. There's a limitation to our this and that we're learning to work through. Some of you, like Brown, is maybe learning to work through it just because he's newer or whatever. On my so that all went down and stuff. On my 19th day is when I had my third experience. And on my third experience is when I described this kind of baboon head about this big. And so with my third experience, what happened, I did, make sure you guys are hitting thumbs ups for me out there. I really appreciate it. For my third, I already drank my coffee. For my third experience, on my 19th day of walking these trails, walking this habitat, BB could be a series. Okay, you guys are talking. Anyways, so on my, just get my head straight here. So on my third experience, I come to this spot where I verify with my eyes, but he's quite a distance away. But I first found him through the camera part. And what I'm doing is I'm being educational. So already on my 19th day, I'm teaching you guys what I've learned about some colors and stuff. And I pointing out some black to you. And I'm saying, see that black right there? That's the kind of deep black that you should be looking. I'm holding my camera. That should be the black that you're looking, so on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. This is about 3 minutes or so into the video. So I understand that we all have a certain amount of time, and too bad that you guys maybe are missing out on some of these phenomenal ones, but these ones really help you train your eyes because they're 100% for real. I think some of you guys can really trust me on that. It's a matter of you guys working on trying to find them, and that's why I tell you amounts of not giving up, because I've watched some guys that have said, I ended up watching it like 15 times or something, and they finally were really grasping what was going on. I still learn from them. On this one I'm talking about right now, I'm going to tell you how I still learned on it. So this might turn into a little bit more than one part. Just tell you how I got to this spot today. Maybe I'll make it a 2-parter or something. So anyways, I'm standing there and I'm filming. I ended up filming with 2 different cameras. I have the creature on 2 different cameras. I have him moving his head. I have him turning his head. I get to see this left side arm move like this. I get to see his whole forearm. Like say I don't have a tattoo on that side, but say I was like this, kind of where I was hiding from you guys, and I knew you guys might be able to see that part of me, and when you guys were looking away or whatever, and I went like this and I turned this part of my arm over, we get to freaking see that. I kid you not. Is it easy? No, but on that shitty of a video, on that level of camera, if these poor eyes can see it, I'm not making it up, it's 100%. Somebody even talks about it. Hey, how come he flared his nostrils at you? I was excited to hear that because I don't think I ever talked about the flaring of his nostrils, and it's really weird. It's almost like if he just took his nose and went like this and pointed it at me over here. Trippy. But he never does take his head apart and stuff. It is his head. You will figure that out through this. So in this video, yeah, you get to see that. That was my third sighting. That's my big male one. Get to see the whole left profile. He's in the center most of the time. You'll see other things, but don't think about other things. I would work on him because he's a freaky shape to bring in. He's a freaky look to see. I don't think anybody has seen him enough to describe him. He seems like he's a character on his own, almost. Like, I can see how some people might right off call him like maybe into this dog world and stuff, but I don't go dog world. I go baboon world. And yes, you get to see this big, healthy, big snout like this. You get to see this bottom of a bucket, back of a head sort of thing. And his head, and there's two leaves going like this, and exactly like that. You're seeing his eyes through there because the two leaves are wrapping him like this. You see a snout out past here where you get to see those nasals. You get to see his head behind this other leaf here. You get to see what seems to be a pink ear, but it might, you know, I'm looking at it and it's trippy, but it's there so often it's hard to say. Because there's lots of little babies and stuff, and maybe it's a little pinky guy hanging out there. I don't know. But, you know, all these parts are him. And then down here is where you would, but remember, we're talking about actual left side, but is where you get to see arm like this. You get to see the turning arm. You get to see the twisting arm like this and stuff. So it's a trippiest of things. Cheers, brother. Some Bubba Kush. Nice shatter. Oh, you're sitting out back looking for the stars? Awesome. Nice. Cheers to all. So I'm going to continue on then. And basically, so that's my 19th day. On my 21st, so we're talking about how I got to sit in here. So I'm just telling you out some pretty specific ones in the beginning. On the 21st day. I'm standing, I go with my camera. I'm in that same area. I came through the nesting station and I went to the very back there. So I'm just off from where I had that second get-together thing that happened on the 15th day. And I'm just looking at these thick trees there. There's a lot of short ones and stuff, a lot of evergreen kind of stuff. And I don't remember them looking really beautiful and healthy and stuff. They're just looking thick and ugly and bristly and all that kind of stuff. And I go, you guys, I'm going to have to figure out how to track them from these experiences or whatever through that stuff. So I'm just thinking that I have to learn to track. So then 2 days later, on the 23rd, I decide I'm going to my habitat number 1. And I think I just call it Jungle Gym Motel. I think that's what I call it. I don't even really fully remember the nickname, but I think that's what I called the whole habitat. And so I decided to drive a different way. I'm always driving the back road to there. So I decided to drive the highway, come up the mountainside, and come in from a different way to it. Well, over here I get turned around or whatever type thing. I'm not really sure where I am. So I decided, oh, I see where people pull over here and fill up their bottles with water. So I pull over. I probably grab some water, I'd imagine, and there's a trail right there. So I thought I might as well just take a peek in here quick and see what's going on. So I go in there. I ended up staying in there for, I don't know, a couple of hours. And I ended up, after that, I drove up the back and came in from a shot from the back. Was that all part of the couple hours? I'm not sure, but let's just say it was. When I went in there, right away I just started realizing, because I'm following this ravine. And in this ravine, that's what the jungle gym represents. It's not a very deep ravine or anything, but it is a bit of a water system. It does hold water there. But a lot of that information shined through over to here. The trees down, different things like this. So I'm like, trippy, man, this is really cool. So I go up there. I can't remember exactly what I did, but I did a whole bunch of stuff to realize, wow. And I did a bunch of videotaping where I'm looking at my camera and I'm going, holy shit, man, like this blackness and stuff. These guys really trip us out, how they set it up, how they sabotage colors to make us fall for it. Like a lot of this fall, we think we're seeing fall change right now. We're not seeing fall change. You're actually seeing a lot of leaves and stuff that they nick did whatever they did to it to make go to this burning red. It's not a fall red, it's a burning red, and they've just been sitting like that for a few months, and that's just to make humans comfort, is how that kind of happens. Is my battery going good? I hope it is. Hello everybody out there, thanks for coming in. I'm just telling a bunch of story here, and people might not want to just stick out the end, but it's still fun to stick out the end and then catch the beginning later and tie it all together. So I'm up to my 23rd day of approximately 12-13 months back there. I can figure it, August of last year I think is when I started, probably late August, and I'm about on my 23rd day here. And on my 23rd day I discover that once I figured out that they were on this spot, and I'm walking my trail out, I've decided I'm walking my trail out, I'm coming out, and I see these feathers, an actual wing. I don't recall if there was 2 wings. I should have it on video unless somehow I deleted it, but I almost had a feeling that I had 2 wings, but minimal 1 wing like this, where I'm looking, it's a raven looking wing, maybe a crow, but I'm thinking raven, very heavy populated area in raven. Lifted up like this. This is something that I get to find as a second time gift, but the first time happens months before and no connection understanding. But all of a sudden I pick up an eagle skull, a young eagle skull. I know it's young because the one from a couple of months before was much bigger, and I have it on video, and that was just about a find, and you guys can find that on my channel. So then I check, and there's a young blue heron skull, and that I know is young because the couple of months before I found one and it was much larger, and those ones I kept. Out of this little compile here, I keep the eagle one, so I still have the young eagle in my treasure box here. I should show you my treasure box. Anyways, and also within there is about this long a piece of just a really tough shedding of a snake. So it's not its real skin, it's the shedding skin. And it's about this long. Pretty heavy duty snake, like he had a good size head on him and stuff, so that's really cool. Some kind of a snake to our area, I would imagine. Not to exclude, I wouldn't doubt it if these guys to some extent are a pack rack and will take things from communities to communities. I wouldn't doubt it if there's actually seeds that have traveled the worlds because of these guys. I think we're going to figure that out for sure. I really think we will figure that out for sure. I don't even know if we're going to fully accredit pollination to the bees anymore, because maybe these guys also somehow are making sure we have bees. There's all kinds of weird levels of these guys, but these guys are so freaking important. They're not just important to know that we see them walking around, that we know they're living somewhere in that mountain, or fanatical Ian that's saying that they will live right in our own communities. And you guys are the ones who are watching my videos, so if you're questioning a lot of things in my videos or whatever, that's your mind questioning, and that's you having to figure it out. Then there's the guy you're listening to who talks about, that's a lot going on, man, a lot going on. And I talk about that they take care of our trees. I don't know, maybe they can migrate and all come out of United States and do just Canada right now, and then they're going to swim over to Russia. I don't know what, how that migration or where they're stopping, where they're building big communities and stuff like that. Don't really understand that, but I suspect that they're helping to encourage maybe rainforest systems. I suspect that they're maybe helping to encourage desert systems. I know they do mountain fracking. I know they do cave dwelling, cave building, cave drilling of sorts of their abilities. Just using the word drilling so you know that they're actually masters of getting inside a cave and such, like building through mountains. I believe that if there was a lake up high over here and there was another lake here or whatever, that they can actually do a system to erupt that system enough to make that lake start draining into there. Whether it's a trickle and a drip at a time, where they can make it a heavy flow, I don't know. But I believe that we're going to figure out what kind of masters they are. I'm worried about how they work around our dam systems and stuff, because they do rock fracking, concrete fracking. Our dams are made of concrete, trust me. They will just love to do it. Are they doing it to be mean to us? That's part of what we have to figure out. I don't get that fully on that level. I almost think it's kind of just like an ant. He's just building what he's doing. He doesn't necessarily think he's, you know, the wood ant or whatever, when they break into our house or whatever, and they just eat our house in a couple of years or something like that. He doesn't know he's being so mean to us. We think they're super beings. They're not necessarily super beings, guys. I think they're just kind of, you know, wild bush animals, monkeyish, five-toed, different arches in their feet that I believe I've discovered at least in one of them. So what does that tell you? So how much human do we take away because it's got a different arch system now? What if it has 3 extra ribs? Like, what do, you know, we just say human and stuff like this, and maybe this word being makes us connect with too much like that there are really our brothers and stuff. No, they walked away from the natives say in their old stories. So you think about it, humans were as strong as similar what we see in the natives, that they want to be around the other humans for whatever reasons, or the natives would be compiling away from us, living a life without us. They don't. They want to be around us. They want to have a lot of the pleasures we all humans enjoy and stuff. Are these guys starting to connect with that? And that's why they're coming closer. And like, I stand outside and I wash and I clean myself sometimes to teach them that that's what I'm doing. I'll walk over to a beam of light, and I'm standing in the beam of light like this, and I'm doing my thing. I'm taking, you know, I do the squirt bottle thing. So, you know, I'll just wash my beard or whatever like that and stuff, and I'll give them the show of it and stuff. So people ask me how or don't trust that maybe I'm as much as going on as the impression that they're giving. I do a different show than the average guy. I'm not upsetting them, I believe. That when I upset, you can jump into my month and a half about of this story, and you can see where I upset a guy vocally at nighttime, because I'm walking around in his nighttime neighborhood, our daytime humanhood, you know, area or whatever type thing. So you know what? Because I got us up to the 23rd day, I think I'm going to end there, because that's where my notes end. And so whoever hasn't come in, please go back and watch it. I think it's pretty interesting. You know, give it thumbs up. I'm going to go into my questions, or go into this a little bit and see what's going on out there in the world. These vibrate a certain frequency, maybe Sasquatch, or onto the same vibe. Could very well be. Understand their vibe is what I would say. And we're going to end up figuring out that there's stuff that they're really good at. Like, you're going to end up figuring out that this tree stuff that I talk about, yeah, they've got such a huge connection with it. We're going to learn a lot of stuff. But it's natural information. It's the drive that's in them, which, because it's so natural and it's such a drive, that's why I think there's an excessiveness happening. That's why people are going to start realizing that our trees, if they keep hanging around in our neighborhood, our trees are going to keep getting ridiculously big every year. Nothing to what they've gotten big with in previous years. Their numbers are, you know, in certain areas, they could probably have done that someday, at some time, you know. But times have changed where I think their numbers, volumes have gotten so big, they're now having to spread out and they're overgrowing a lot of forests. They, you know, the ones that are into the nature of just helping a dry climate maybe, and maybe keeping it dry, I don't know. But those guys might be increasing in their area, making it just because that's how their program's a little bit different. So we, very well, I believe that we are into different sets of beings, you know. So where can I do this without bothering you guys? So, yeah. So, yeah, I'm pretty pooped out here. I'm just going to kick back, and where I'm staying right now is it's just a great spot, guys. 100% they're living right there. They're there 100%. Like brown dirt, I get the impression you just walk off of your place right there and they're around, and you may not fully realize it yet, but you're starting to realize that they're fully around. They're allowing themselves to be exposed more. Be careful, because we don't, like everybody says, I don't ever think that I'm not in danger. People understand how you're doing that. I think it might be because, you know what I'm hearing? I just hear kind of like in different tones, but just like a zzz, and it's almost electrifying through my body. And that's the hyperacusis part. Hyperacusis. Sorry, I'm just so dry, man. I'm so like that. I'm a type of guy that you give me the microphone and I think I have to say it all right now. I gotta calm down from that thing. But, yeah, so it is what it is. Irritating. And you can imagine that when it's going and then I'm talking and I'm getting it to a higher level, then I go to a higher level. I actually really have to push myself to be more like this kind of a talker, and maybe even change my tone where I can find the spot where it's better. Yeah, they are outside, just right around in your neighborhood for sure, right? They're everywhere. It's the truth of it. All the confusion about the trees around the world, the trees out in, what do we call it, out in the huge Amazon rainforest of the world and stuff. There's like 7 huge rainforests or something. And I would not doubt, it's up to you, one of you guys, maybe you, someone there, has that kind of a time and like that kind of a thing. Check and see if there's big questions at all of our 7 rainforests. Like, I believe it's the Amazon that I was watching at my dad's house. And they do not know what species of a tree it is by the bark down below. They have to go and get a leaf or go up to the canopy to somehow know whether it's the bark there or here. Our science should be so good and so willing and so understanding to be able to realize that trees are so great. You could cut a great big chunk out of it like that. And if you dress it properly and take it properly and care of it properly, not the way that we humans do now with our medicines and stuff, but actually do it the Bigfoot way, they'll start to be able to do those kind of samples. They'll have the instant sample. They'll go up to the tree and just go and take out a piece and not worry about that little scab or whatever. They are not a human. It's different to do that for them. It's different about their energy that comes there and stuff. If you're taken right out of this low of the tree here to the ground, into the ground and stuff, you're right at the heart and soul. We're going to realize that these living beings are real living beings, that we have to give them something. They do care. They grow crookedly and stuff like that in an upset state, not just because a wind pushed them like that and stuff, but blah, 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 blah. You guys get it. It is what it is. I'm out of here. Thanks for coming in. I'm sitting right in an area that I am not... You guys want to go for a walk? Peace. Want me to take the camera outside here and see if we can, if I won't lose our spot, and we'll go right up to where these guys would be hanging out. Let's do it. Okay, my windows are all shut good enough. Shut off this light, so you're gonna go into the dark, so we're here. We will be able to get I got a flashlight. It's not gonna do us much, but maybe we'll be able to see some eyes shine or something, okay? Okay, make sure I got the key here. I'm just gonna do it barefooted too. Give them more stimulation. You gotta be thinking about their stimulation. So I'm gonna turn the camera around. There we go. Got my key. Got us locked. Even if I wasn't locked, I got my roof of my car open, so. Kind of already walked up this way earlier, so I know there's no dog poop on the trail I'm taking. There's where we're getting our stuff from. Cheers, brother. So let's see how well this lighting back here helps us out so we can see what's there we go. So all up on the hillside there, that's all blackberry. I'd like to see if I can flip my camera around. Actually, I'll do this. Perfect, it worked. Oh, you'll come. Don't lose ya. Might have buggered it up a little bit. Hopefully you're still there. There we are. Okay, we're getting back into it. You know, I'm going to put the camera back. It's working better on this side, so... Come on. I'm just going to wait until it goes strong again. And then I'm just going to walk this way, because this is the way. The router is around here, so stick with me, guys. Okay, I'm right in front of where the router should be, so I should be getting a full strength. Yeah, I got a full strength, so it's a matter of it just realizing. Come on, realize that you're that strength. Anybody hear me? It's saying very bad connection. Why are you doing that? Come on. Okay, well it seems to be stronger again. Okay, if I'm holding it like this, so let's do this. Whoops. I'm looking at the camera, not the hillside. At least I didn't walk off of a retaining wall or something. Right on, she's working again. Yeah, thumbs up once in a while. Yeah, cool. Good idea. Because right now, I don't care if I see your guys' notes or whatever, because, you know, when I'm in a story, I can't be reading your guys' notes at the same time, because then I start getting a little back and forth too much. My head's not good that way. So anyways, where we're looking right now, I kid you not, they will be in these bushes right now, right in here. Why? As silly as it sounds, because of who I am. Make sure my head's not in the way. I'm a guy that's... Ooh, I just stepped on some... I didn't come this way, so I'll have to wash my feet. But I've bothered these guys enough to know that they're at least, if they don't know who I am or haven't given me an understanding of a certain person or something, then when I come around all the time, they're just that curious all the time. But we all know that if we went up to the mountain gorillas and we visited them day after day and just were in their area, even if they wouldn't come up to us very close, we know our feeling inside is they're going to get to know who we are on certain levels. These guys, I imagine, are bigger and different than that with their mind. Whoop. Run, run, run. So let's see. There we are. We're back again. Okay, so right up here. Oh, crap. Nice. You'll end up losing it, but if you could only see back here. Like, guaranteed. Like, I've been watching them. I talk about this in particular blueberry patch. The reason why I said that is because this was actually blueberry. Say let's say 100 feet past this way. You can kind of see my hand going that way, right? So 100 feet this way was maybe full of blueberry. I knew that going this way that there was no blueberry. I'm going to use my flashlight here, man, because I felt like there was something moving under my foot. That's trippy. It started making me think that maybe a mole, because you know how I talk about the humps in the ground? Well, it might be a mole kind of little thing. And I'm wondering if somehow they're just getting the numbers bigger. Like we were talking about the bees, right, Dwarf? Maybe they're getting the numbers bigger. Like that young blue jay, if you guys have been watching my video there, I kid you not, I know a fair amount about jays. They're very communal. When I was up on my other farm there, when I was up on that farm just before I started in my car, there was a lot of jays around there. I got into feeding them. I got into kind of, you see me, I try to be friends with the animals and see what goes on. So that's what I did with the jays. Learned a lot, and then now I got this little jay on his own that now has come out a couple of times. I've heard him squawking in there a couple of times, just chilling and hanging out. So right here or across the way here is where it's huge highway stuff for us. It's all huge river. It's the Fraser River, goes to everything. So you can see how these are the trees across the way that I've sat here and I've watched these trees all grow. I don't know. On an average, a lot of them have maybe gone 20 feet in height, more. Start studying your trees, you're going to start being able to see them bend and stuff. Start realizing when you were a kid and there was that one favorite tree of yours that you used to go to the branch, and it'd say the branch came out at 6 foot height, and you could jump up on that branch and swing yourself up in the tree and climb up that tree and stuff. Go back to that tree and see if that branch still exists. See if it's 6 feet off of the ground or if it's maybe 10 feet off of the ground. What trees don't do is they don't grow a lot continuously from the ground. What they do is they feed the stuff up further, and that stuff is the stuff that continues to grow. So when branches come out at 6 feet, they generally will only change. You know, different species, different things, right? But they ain't gonna be growing, going, 2 feet out of the ground, or because remember I talk about the heart and the soul of a tree kind of being at that base, and zuku, there we go. And because they're at the heart and base there, this is the part of a tree that you can see really being affected by these guys and what I talk about. Because there's a lot of stimulation that happens here that feeds everything up there. I told the ladies at this. Shit. Okay. I'm out of here. Peace out, everybody. Tinman. Do I get to say it in good connection? Looks like I might have lost you. Peace out from the Tinman.
Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Remember to share, talk. It's time to get stuff going on out here.